Drew and KB bringing it to you from the Iron Jock studio. Our buddy Paul Hansen, founder of Iron Jock, has great deals going all the time. There's a great one going right now, KB. Buy 2 short sleeve shirts, get one for free. That's a $39.99 value. Use the promo code SS T-shirts. Think short sleeve T-shirts. 14 colors and styles. Buy 2, get one free now through July 23rd. The code is SS T-shirts at ironjoc.com, ironjock.com. All right, we're shifting gears. It is Bring Your Dog to Work Day here. KB has Kenneth. Kenneth is behaving himself very well, which is good because we have a special guest on line 1 of the PellaWI.com talk and text line. We welcome Maya Payne Smart, the wife of Shaka Smart, to the program. Maya, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Happy anniversary almost. You're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of publishing Reading for Our Lives, a literacy plan from birth to 6. And this book has won rave reviews in every corner of the Amazon world, and all the reviewers and all the educators say you hit a home run with this.
Thank you so much. It's exciting. I can't believe how quickly a year went by.
It is. It's pretty wild that I've seen some of the interviews you've done about this book, and we deal with our friends from Sharp Literacy a lot. So we are a little bit versed in what you're trying to do. And I have to ask, like, it is a problem. The years from birth to 6 are so important. And KB and I often talk about how much we see kids on tablets. And phones. And
my wife is a K4 instructor, and she's just appalled by the lack of motor skills and things. But they can all swipe right or left.
So Maya, what is the game plan? What can people do? What can parents do to help build that foundation?
The first thing parents have to understand is that you can't wait until kids are school age to start thinking about these things. And it's not, as a parent, it's not always about having a book in hand and reading to your child. There's an important role for conversation to play as well, particularly when we're talking about babies. So it's really important for parents to understand that we play a really important role in building vocabulary. And so we should treat those coos and babbles from the littlest children as if they're words and sentences, and respond.
My mom, this was many moons ago because I'm old, but my mom used to, she'd put flashcards on everything, like refrigerator, almost everything in our house when I was between, preschool. Everything had a label on it, like door and window and like refrigerator and things like that. I don't know if anybody does that anymore. I doubt it. I don't see it. I don't know if that's revolutionary, but are things like that, things that plant the seed, are those helpful? Is that part of the blueprint that you're espousing?
It is. It's very important. Your mom was a wise woman. We don't realize that when we're flipping through the picture books, oftentimes kids aren't paying any attention to the print. They're looking at the pictures. So as parents, it's important to take those opportunities to point to letters, talk about the S on the stop sign, and really use your fingers and point and trace and label, and just and it can be a light touch. It's not flashcards all day or workbooks all day, but little gentle touches throughout everyday life really does add up to kids having more awareness of print, paying more attention to it, and having the skills then to begin to connect it to the sounds that they hear.
And even, my wife, when we were lucky enough that she didn't have to work and was able to stay at home, and it's not, like you said, it's not just sitting down and reading to someone. Things that she used to do, she loves to garden, and she'd take my son out to garden and then would get him his gloves, and he would be in there and say, okay, now how many carrots is this? And how, and you can do things in the course of the regular day that is a teaching moments, but it's not, okay, here's your, we have to sit down and read for 20 minutes before bed.
Absolutely. And you touched on 2 really important things in that garden example. One is that the vocabulary and concepts that you're introducing apply to other subject areas. So when you're counting the carrots and talking about numbers and certain things being larger or smaller than other things, you're building this wonderful vocabulary that they'll need for other subject areas. And this idea of getting out in the world and doing things and using your hands is so important. We have, even now, coming out of COVID and remote learning, a lot of kids who didn't get those early experiences, even learning to hold a pencil, to know how to write their name. And so there are all these delays that are all connected to reading and writing.
So let me ask you this. Have you looked at, from the formative years up to age 6, that's really important. But have you looked at other ages, and in particular, I teach at the college level. And could you write a book on how to use a paragraph break? Maybe, or there, and there, two, and two.
Well, my main contention is that it all starts early. And if we can build some of these foundational things, then kids are in a better position to take advantage of classroom instruction at every age, stage, grade level. And you're right, there are college students who are relying on voice dictation to write their papers and haven't mastered a lot of the punctuation and some of the very basics that we learned. I'm old enough that I learned to type on a typewriter. So,
so if we said home row to you, you said home row, you would know what we're talking about.
That's right. Yeah, the book is called Reading for Our Lives, A Literacy Plan from Birth to Six. Maya Payne-Smart is here with us today. When we were kids, the bane of educational people was TV. Like the parents, that became our babysitter, right? But we got to watch Sesame Street and the Electric Company, and there was some programming for us. When I see kids on tablets, they're crushing candy. Are there anything, can we use technology and tablets? Are there any programs? Is there anything good out there for parents to find, like educational time wasters on tablets and phones?
There is still some quality programming for children that's very educational and effective. So Sesame Street and all that discussion of letters and the songs are still important, still work. Shows like Super Why, a lot of the public television children's program is still very high quality. But for the youngest children, the research strongly suggests that it's real-time back and forth engagement with people in their environment, parents, siblings, caregivers, that really makes a difference for building vocabulary. They're not going to get the skills that they need from that just kind of flat experience of scrolling and watching videos. So we have to talk to kids.
One thing that I have a major concern about is students and using AI, and that instead of using it as a tool, they'll use it as a crutch. And if you project it out, if they use AI too much, we won't have anyone who will come up with the idea of what to do after AI.
Right.
Think about that.
True.
That they'll rely on that so much, they won't know how to think for themselves. So we're just going to stop here.
Right. And you won't have the next generation of people who have the technical skills to program the robots in a way where humans are still in control. But there are absolutely a number of issues. So I think that's why it's so important for parents to understand that you play a major role in setting parameters for your child, and you're modeling your own use of technology is modeling things for kids. And we really have to emphasize those basics of reading and writing and thinking.
Critical thinking, especially. My big thing is media literacy. We can talk about that. Given your background in the journalism background, we can develop a course. That can be your next book, is getting kids and knowing what to believe and what trusting sources and stuff. I think a lot of adults need that these days as well.
You think?
So Maya, we have to ask, what's summer like in the Smart household? What's it like having your husband home more than he is in the fall and winter?
Well, I think it's a big misconception that coaches are home more in the summer, because there are these big tournaments and there's a lot of recruiting and a lot of travel that happens over the summer. And so traditionally, if you talk to coaching families, you'll discover that most of us got married in either May or August, because there are little windows there. So we're a May marriage. But yeah, this is a busy time. Still,
is there a window for kids too? Is there a time when most of the kids are born?
If you went deep into the tournament?
I was pregnant with my daughter during our Final Four run.
See, there you go.
Well,
there you go.
But I mean, just if we talk about relationships with, if you don't mind me bringing this up, I can just tell you that we are absolutely thrilled at what has been happening down at the Al and on Wisconsin Avenue, and what your husband's done to revitalize the team. But I know that wives in particular, have a lot of influence over, I don't know, let's say how their husbands dress. Could you have a chat with them about the long sleeve shirt under the golf shirt?
You have to prioritize. I'm glad that you brought this up, because I do get comments like, can't you get him to dress better?
Can you get rid of those?
Here's what's most important. It's not what Shaka looks like. It's what he feels like. He's a basketball coach that wants to run up and down the sidelines. He wants to get down in the defensive stance. He wants to do all of that, and he's most comfortable doing that in a dry fit. So if it works for him, and I think it is, I think you can't deny the
long sleeve
record.
shirt underneath, though.
KB's like, just wear the long sleeve
Someone
shirt.
should
Either one or
track
the other.
the record in the dry fit with the polo.
No
over it.
layering.
Well, it is like they're getting away from it. Used to be coaches wore suits and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's the
Al
exception.
McGuire waving his jacket up on the table.
That's the exception. It's like, that's ain't a fashion show. It's about the results, right?
Right.
Right, Maya? Absolutely.
Is it about style or is it about substance? It's always about substance with Shaka Smart.
What are the other misconceptions we may have about the coach's family? I mean, obviously, like when he comes home, he has to decompress, and I'm sure reading to your daughter was probably a highlight of the day. It was for me when I got home from work when my daughter was little.
Absolutely. And even though obviously I have a big interest in reading and reading development, and having Zora is what got me thinking about these issues. But Shaka is a big reader as well. He has right now a giant stack on our family room table of different books that he's going through. But when she was younger, he still is the math parent. So we have kind of a division of labor with subjects. So he read a lot of wonderful books to her. One was called Bedtime Math. And there was another one, Number Devil or something like that. So he found a lot of books that introduced mathematical thinking to her as a young kid, and she's a stellar little mathematician now. So I credit him with that.
That's fantastic. Have we Dr. Seuss is still read? I mean, in some circles, if they're not burning books for kids now, it's have we progressed? Is there a newer, updated version? Is there a new children's author who has tapped into some of this that people might not know about, people our age might not know about, that we might be able to get someday for our grandchildren?
Oh, there are so many wonderful authors of children's literature these days. My absolute favorite author is an author named Jacqueline Woodson. And she's unusual in the sense that she writes for all different age ranges, but she has a number of just beautiful picture books. And my favorite is one called Each Kindness. And it just teaches a lovely lesson about how you don't always get a chance to be nice and kind and welcoming to people. And I think that's a good lesson, even for very young children, and a great reminder for adults.
That is.
I recommend that one for sure.
Wow, I would pay big money to hear your husband read Captain Underpants. I mean, we did.
It could be a fundraiser.
It could be a fundraiser. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think that's his lane.
No. Does he have, when he was as a father, did he have stats? Did he have deflections or things in the house that he would keep track of for your kids?
So speaking of our division of labor with parenting and school subjects, he was the physical education or gym teacher when Zora came home for COVID, right? So her school was shut down. She was home all day with both of her parents, and he was trying to have her run around the neyborhood and do all these things. It was very, very intense for a second grader. So I think he was excited to go back to school.
So you've what's next on the schedule to write about? I mean, this is just the first start into the foray into this, and this is a real deep issue and with a lot of layers. Is there anything else that you're looking at that you want to bring to the forefront?
I think what you mentioned about technology and learning in older children is really important. Our daughter is now a middle schooler and skilled, fluent, excellent reader, but she too wants to watch a video. If she wants to learn something, she's going video first. I'm like, well, you can read a book about that. You can read an article. So I think as parents, we have to be a little flexible and understand that it is a totally different generation that has access to a wide range of technology and experiences and things that we don't know. And there's value in some of that. And so helping parents navigate some of those issues, the competition with technology, but also the ways that technology can enhance learning and allow students to explore subjects that they're interested in greater depth than they might be able to in a traditional classroom.
And it's still going to involve it's still the involvement of the parents, because what we see is that there's I couldn't tell you how big it is, but seems to be a segment of the population that has kids just because that's what they're supposed to do. You know, I mean, and they don't really get that involved with their education or going to talk to teachers or things like that. And that's got to change too.
Absolutely. Being one of the things that I discovered through the process of researching and writing this book and talking to so many educators and researchers who study learning is that it's a tough job. Teaching is hard. So we have to manage our expectations just about what's possible to accomplish within the span of a school day with all of the different subjects and expectations that are placed on teachers. And also with, again, that range of skills that kids are bringing to the classroom. So teachers are now expected to teach 3 grade levels in that one classroom because some are so far behind. So we have to have realistic expectations of what teachers and our schools can do and know that what they can't do, we have to figure out a way to do if we want our children to be successful.
Captain
Fantastic.
Underpants and the mystery of the run-on sentence.
There you go,
I'm going to
KB.
craft that right now.
Maya, thank you for joining us. We really like this topic because we both were early readers, and we were really into this with our kids, and we're glad that you wrote this book and glad that we could help you promote it.
Yes, thank you so much for putting Reading for Our Lives in front of your audience.
You bet. Thanks. We'll talk to you down the road. Thanks much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Maya Payne Smart, Shaka Smart's spouse, or we should say that Shaka is her husband.
Right. That's how